Hi guys, welcome back. This one's been a long time coming and I've already done a quick comparison between the original print and this one. But now that I've finally read the first book, I thought I'd do a closer look on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 1 Deluxe Edition. It doesn't have a description on the back, so I'm going to just give you guys a quick kind of synopsis. The book itself basically starts when the Green Ranger joins the Power Rangers, which is actually probably my least favourite part of the TV show, because it was where all the sort of bitching back and forth happens and it's kind of unsettled and they're just not really getting along as much. Whereas earlier on you had the kind of focus of the first sort of 5 Rangers with Jason as the main kind of guy, and then afterwards you have kind of somewhat Tommy working as a sort of elite ranger as part of the team, which is great. But the middle part just I didn't enjoy personally as much. So going in at that point I was a little bit like, I don't know how good this is gonna go, but it turned out a lot better than I was kind of expecting. So let's take a closer look at the book itself. We'll flip through, look at some of the art and the sort of extras and things, and then we can come back and discuss my thoughts overall. On the front we have Saban's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 1 Deluxe Edition. Our backdrop is the Green Ranger holding his helmet. On the side we have Boom Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 1, and then the creators down the side, and that matches up on all 3 so far. And then on the back we have Boom Studios and Hasbro. And then we have the $75 US or $55.99 UK by Boom Studios. It's a sewn spine, so lifts up really well, which is always good to see. So we have our various kind of creators and things, and then we have a foreword by Jason David Frank, which is the guy who plays the Green Ranger in the show. And then we get a bit of a prologue as to what led us to this point. Following that we have, as I say, sort of breaks for each chapter. The art's consistent throughout. I didn't really notice any major differences. And then at the tail end of the story, we get this ongoing adventures of Bulk and Skull. To be honest, I read the first issue or so of this and just kind of skipped over it. It was far too childish and wacky for me and didn't really fit the tone of the rest of the book. So I'm glad they left it to the back, but it wasn't really for me. And then after that, we get into the Humungous section of covers. This is a good quarter of the book, which is just a cover gallery basically, and we have basically every single helmet combination, we have their Zords, we have them morphing. I mean, the list goes on. It's just an endless section of covers. So I mean, if that's something that you like to kind of take off your shelf and look at quite a lot, maybe something you enjoy. But personally, I mean, art like this is the sort of thing you'd want to display on a wall, and I don't see anyone taking this out of the book, so it feels a bit like wasted space, really. And then we have a little bit at the back, just behind the scenes, so it's kind of the creating of the various kind of characters and outfits and things like that. I would have liked to have seen this bit a bit more expanded, rather than just, you know, cover art, because this was a bit kind of few and far between, to be honest. And then at the back here we've got various other trades that they're just sort of recommending to check out. As with a lot of these books, as you can see here, if you take it all one way and don't kind of take it back, it doesn't really sit straight. The bind's a lot tighter on these books. For some reason, if you use the thicker kind of paper that a lot of these boom books use, I kind of have to flip it back a little bit just to straighten out the spine. As I say, it's not really causing it any damage or anything, it's just because of how tight the spine is done that the card kind of holds a certain way after you flip through it. So flipping it back the way just straightens that back out, and it means that it sits dead straight again. This book looks at things very differently to how the TV show did. It takes a much more, I guess, adult approach to the overall storytelling and develops the characters in some ways that's just a lot more interesting, I guess. So where the TV show would have them all kind of going to school and doing their basic tropes, and then have somewhat stereotypical kind of things where our Blue Ranger's kind of techie and Jason's kind of like, you know, like fighty and, you know, whatever else. This plays a little bit more into those kind of blurred lines of who the different characters are, what they would learn off each other, things like that. So we've got, I'm going to forget and butcher names, but we've got our Yellow Ranger, I want to say it's Trini or something like that, and she is learning kind of some things off of Billy. And we have some really cool areas where they'll go into the various sort of Zords and be fixing things or hacking different stuff and messing around with things. And if you don't know how the original Power Rangers were done, Power Rangers show basically was based on another show, I believe, from sort of Asia, and they basically took all the fighting footage and the Zord footage and they just reshot sort of school elements and stuff in English and stuff based around the States. So they couldn't put any extra sequences into the fighting, they couldn't put people in the Zords, they couldn't change things up as far as that's concerned. They only had that footage to use, and that was kind of their limitations. You wouldn't have had them like demasked in a Zord unless it was something that was already pre-shot and like stuff like that. So in this, where they could actually spend some time in the Dragon Zord or in, you know, the different Zords, messing around with them or hacking them or doing different things and showing different stuff like that, was really cool, and not things that you would have even thought that you were missing out of in the show, but it just added that extra kind of element. We have a bit of different kind of things around how we connect to the overall kind of morphing grid. This kind of opens up an idea that there isn't just sort of one Power Rangers, you know, there's different ways to connect to this power source, and if one power source is taken away, there's other ways to kind of do it. So I don't want to give us spoilers, but they do briefly get cut off from the Power Ranger kind of grid at some point, and they use a different kind of method to get into it, and it's quite a fun moment in the middle of the book. And then later on, we kind of build into what is our big bad, right? Everybody knows by this point it's Lord Draken, and he's essentially an evil merger of the Green and White Ranger powers of an alternate sort of universe or Earth version of Tommy. And he's our sort of big bad that's revealed the tail end of this kind of book overall. Now, as I say, there's a lot more going on in there than what I've mentioned, and there's a lot more depth and connection. It's less sort of high school drama and more true sort of friendships and building of characters, which is great. I would say that just under half of this book, physically, is filler. So unless you're a die-hard fan of all the sort of little things from the TV show and the covers and all that kind of stuff, you are buying half a book of filler. I mean, a good third of this book at the back is all alternate covers, and the alternate covers are not just like, you know, one alternate cover. You've got like every single helmet, every single alternate helmet, every single costume, and it's like, I'm going to look at this once and shove it on my shelf. What a waste of space, paper, ink. Honestly, just why? I don't get it. And then there's a bit in the back as well before that, which is a sort of mini series, 3 or 4 issues of like Bulk and Skull, and it's really, really sort of cartoony and kind of shoddily done. I don't think it brings them into the same adult context or kind of things as well as the parts of them that are in the main actual story does. So again, I felt that was filler and just a waste of space. So as I say, maybe just under or just over a third of this book overall, to me, is wasted shelf space. But it is nice for those who do want that in their book overall. Just not something that entertained me. The story, as I say, is brilliant. The build quality of the book is brilliant. I really can't complain, and I can't wait to jump into the second book, and that being the first one I actually bought, but I've been holding off until I'd got this to be able to do that. So I've loved it. It's been a great read overall. I don't know if I like it quite as much as the Turtles, but it's definitely a great reimagining and sort of updating of a franchise into a sort of comic book form. Along with this and Turtles, I have also been reading the Scooby Apocalypse book, which I've recommended to a few people. I believe there's just one last trade to go, and then that's kind of done as well, so I'll probably do a review of that fairly soon. But I can't wait to get into book 2 of this. I do have Shattered Grid as well, so we're going to pile through and do some more reviews of this. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to get notifications as and when videos like this drop in future. Thanks for all the comments below. As always, let me know what you think of the book, or if you're going to be picking it up yourself anytime soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.